What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about AMC, and we're going to be going over all of the possible scenarios and key things that you guys need to keep a lookout for that could possibly light the fuse on sending AMC on the biggest short squeeze that we have ever seen and will ever see in our lifetime. We're also going to go over all of the very key indicators that we are seeing from the regulatory agencies and institutions that suggest to us that they're expecting something massive to happen in the markets in the near future. And in addition, we're going to go over why exactly I think that the short interest being represented on all of these different data sources are super low and that the short interest for AMC is much higher than all of us expect. So before we get into all of that information, if you guys would like to earn 2 free stocks with Webull valued up to $1,850, make sure you check out that link down in my description below. It's a great way if you guys want to help out and support the channel. But if you guys would not like to, that is perfectly okay as well. And if you guys enjoy the information and analysis that I provide for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button and make sure you turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video so you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I am trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So we can see that AMC today, at the current time that I am recording this video, is down about 3.3%. And for the last hour or so, it has been hanging around this $10 mark. It's been bouncing around from 10.01, 10.02, all the way down to 9.96. So it is really pinned in a range right now. Now, a lot of people might say this is manipulation. There's a lot of short volume coming in, but we're really going to have to wait and see. So let's take a look at this first new piece of news that came out today that a lot of people are not talking about, that suggests that the regulatory industries are really gearing up for a massive catastrophe coming in the markets and a possible massive squeeze coming with AMC. So coming over here, we can see that this is going to be the Securities and Exchange Commission on March 29th, the self-regulatory organization's National Securities Clearing Corporation notice of filing an immediate effectiveness of a proposed rule change to amend the recovery and wind down plan. Now you can see this is a 34-page document, so this is a very lengthy article and actual release, but let's get a kind of TLDR on what exactly this is going to mean. So coming over to this Twitter post, we can see that brokers like Robinhood or Citadel's clearing arm could have customer accounts transferred to another broker if they go bankrupt a more secure broker. Basically, if/when a broker fails, they will have to take care of the retail investors. If a broker has too many loans outstanding, the SRO or NSCC can force compliance from members, mirrors the DTCC, can liquidate company holdings, but not the retail investor. So daily monitoring on positions and margin, NSCC can force sales of clearing corps and facilitate mass transfer accounts if bankruptcy occurs. So essentially what all of this means is that they are doing their best to protect the retail trader. Now, in addition to this right here, which came out today, we also received a notice from Charles Schwab a couple of days ago that they have adjusted the margin requirements on certain securities. And we can see that those securities in particular are going to be AMC and GameStop. Now, coming down here for stocks, 100% margin requirement for long positions, which essentially makes margin useless, and then 300% margin requirement for short positions. Now, in February, this short margin requirement was 150%, and since they bumped it back up to this 300% number, it's suggesting that they are preparing for January-like conditions. Now, long calls, long puts, and covered calls are permitted, and selling naked calls is prohibited. So, some of you guys might be thinking that, wow, this is a great step. The hedge funds are not going to be able to short AMC or GameStop anymore, but that's not really the case because odds are they are not using Charles Schwab to carry out these massive trades. Now, we also have the forced liquidation of Archegos. So this hit Nomura and Credit Suisse. Now, what's important about Credit Suisse, I'm assuming that all of you guys have heard about this Archegos situation, so I don't want to waste any more of your time. But when we come over to the dark pool data, we can see that this is the alternative trading systems data details, and the trade's last updated date was 3/29. So this right here, the crossfinder, is Credit Suisse's dark pool, and that's actually the largest dark pool that is out in the market. They were in the number 2 spot, but they dropped down to the number 3 spot. So it is interesting to see that they are very active in their dark pool. And then coming over to the non-ATS data, we can still see that Citadel is in the #1 spot, and these trades have not been updated. Now, Citadel is the clearing firm for almost all of the major brokerages, so a lot of these trades are going to be from retail investors, and I want to make sure I'm being clear on this, that these shares is the total volume. So this is buys and sells. This does not suggest that these are all shorts, all buys, or even that Citadel is even holding these, but what's very interesting to note is that these trades are being done in the OTC market. So even if they're not in dark pools, a lot of these trades are still being kept away from the public eye, which is suggesting to me that the short interest data is being massively misrepresented on Ortex, Fintel, MarketBeat, and all of those other data sources, and here is why. So all of the short interest data is self-reported. What this means is that Citadel or any one of these other major institutions can blatantly lie to you and come out and say, well, we have a much smaller short positions than we want to put out and say. And what this ends up doing is it makes retail investors think that the short interest on AMC and GameStop is a lot lower. So they're trying to get people to sell off, thinking that a short squeeze is not going to happen. But I know a lot of you guys are smarter than that. And we have been seeing the manipulation on a day-to-day basis. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. So now let's get into how I think this short squeeze situation is going to kick off with AMC. Now, before we really talk about that, I want you guys to imagine with me a stick of dynamite with a long wick coming out of it, and all of the apes are holding a lighter. So what's going on right now is the apes are clicking the lighter and there's no flame coming out, or there's just a little flame coming out. And what that's represented as in the chart is these little pops. So we are seeing the lighter light, everybody's getting excited that the flame is going to reach the wick, and then it doesn't. So there are a couple of ways where I think that we can get this lighter flame to actually light the wick of the dynamite that is going to explode AMC. So now when we come over here, we have 98% of AMC theaters across the United States to be open as of Friday. Now, this is going to be a more fundamental approach in this scenario. So what we could see out of AMC is great news. Great news is always great for companies, especially in this marketplace when everything is kind of trending in the downward direction. If we see a lot of great news come out about AMC over the next couple of weeks, especially with the Godzilla vs. Kong release, that could give AMC the push it needs to get above this 1454 mark, and then we can see the hedge funds have to cover. Now, this second piece that I'm going to talk about kind of ties in with this first fundamental piece, but it has to do with the Archegos situation. So we all know that all of these funds are massively over leveraged at the current time, and we needed that over the past year. But now with the SLR expiring and not being extended at the end of this month, we could see a lot more of these forced liquidations of these hedge funds. And all we need is one of these hedge funds to have a significant short position in AMC. And I want to compare this to the Viacom sell-off. So Archegos actually had a long position on Viacom. We are seeing Viacom actually bounce up a little bit today, but this massive sell-off was about 30%. This was a massive block trade and a sell that really sent Viacom going to the downside. Now, if we see a hedge fund that has a massive short position on AMC and they are forced to close out, just imagine what could happen to the actual share price of AMC, and this would create a massive domino effect. If we see a massive spike, all of these other hedge funds and institutions that are shorting AMC are going to be forced to cover. They're going to get hit with margin calls, and we're going to see one by one topple down, and a squeeze could go any time now, but I do think it is going to take a little bit more time for this to actually play out, and you guys are going to need to be patient. So I do think it's going to be really hard for the retail buying pressure to really cause this short squeeze. Now, we did see it with GameStop, where this really did come into effect, but I do think we are going to need to see some institutional backing on the buy side to actually beat out the short volume that is coming into AMC on a day-to-day basis. Now, a great way for this to happen would be for a forced liquidation for a hedge fund that has an AMC short position, or some really good fundamental news that comes out about this company. So that is going to wrap up this update on AMC. If you guys were able to learn something new or enjoyed my analysis on AMC, make sure you go down and hit that like button, and it really helps me get this information out to as many people as possible and really helps me grow this channel as a whole. And if you guys would like to see more updates on AMC or any of the other stocks I talk about on this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video, so you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I am trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So I hope you guys were able to have a really profitable day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.